the message on Instagram again to go live?
I'm going to go live on Instagram now. We are live on Facebook.
Hello, Facebook.
Yeah. So we're going to go live on Instagram because Instagram, yeah, Pacesetters will let me. So yeah. And yeah, I've sent you a message on Instagram going live.
It's not come through yet, but it will come through in a second.
Yeah, it will. Okay. Hi everyone, I believe you're all set and ready for Pacesetters online business exhibition. We are Deputy Mayor Gary
Millar. That's the one.
I'm waiting to just get him on Instagram now, and then we can kick off the interview session. Please call everyone, your friends. If you have a question, remember you have opportunity to actually go live with us on the Zoom. Just send a message to 07847093953, and all we'll do is send you the code for you to join us and ask your question online. So we're live on Facebook. Gary, I'm still waiting for you on Instagram.
It's just come through now.
It's just come through, okay?
And I think we're almost there.
Yeah, you're going on with Fashion Up Liverpool, is that right?
No, is that where you've sent it to?
No, I've not sent it. That's the one that came up.
You can do either. You can do Fashion Hub or Gary Millar, but it's strange how it came up with Fashion Hub. So I'm on as a Fashion Hub now, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, right? Should I go ahead with that?
Yeah, let's go ahead with that. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we are live.
Hey.
So please, if you're joining us, please be part of this. We really look forward to having your question and getting all the answers sorted out. My name is Titilayo Odunaiya, and I'm your host for today. And I'm live today. We are Deputy Mayor of Liverpool, Councillor Gary Millar. Hi, Gary. Just say hi to the people.
Hi, everyone. Hello on Facebook. Hello on Zoom. Hello on Instagram. My name is Gary Millar, and I'm one of the 3 deputy mayors of Liverpool, reporting directly to Joe Anderson, the city mayor.
Wow. Bravo. I trust you. All right. So please, like I said, if you want to be part of this interview, just send a message to 07847093953, and we'll be able to add you on live to the Zoom, so you can actually get an opportunity to ask your questions on the live show. So Gary, it's really wonderful having you. I want to appreciate your time. You've really been absolutely good with us in Pacesetters. There's no time we invite you that you've ever said no. So we are so happy. Now, he's the you are the deputy mayor. I've said that several times. So I'd like you to actually talk more about yourself. I know you're into business, you do so many things, but please just give us a little bit about yourself before I actually ask our questions and get our guests to ask questions.
Thank you so much to Pacesetters for allowing me to speak to your friends, your colleagues, your social media followers. My name is Gary. I'm Scottish, and I am a academic migrant to the wonderful city of Liverpool. But as you probably can tell, my accent is not Scouse, as we say here, or Liverpudlian, but it is from Edinburgh. And my friends say that because they think they're funny, that I'm from the English side of Scotland, because we're apparently posher, but we're not. I'm actually from a place called Leith in Edinburgh. And Leith then, when I was born, wasn't always a particularly nice place, but quite a difficult, disadvantaged community where we had no money. And I was brought up in a room and kitchen. And if you don't know what that means, it means it's an old building where there was 12 different families, 4 families per floor, ground floor, first floor, second floor. And we had an outdoor toilet, and we had to share that toilet with 3 other families, so 4 in total. We didn't have a bathroom, and our kitchen was the same as the living room or the lounge, as we say today. No double glazing, no central heating, and our heating was a grate, an oven, a burner in the corner of the kitchen where we boiled water and cooked our food on the same device, using coal to keep the place hopefully warm and feed us as well. That was my background. And here we are many years later, living in Liverpool, and now I'm Deputy Mayor. I was Lord Mayor for just over a year in 2013-14. And just think, if Gary Millar, from quite a rough, no money, poor background, can become Lord Mayor of one of the best cities in the world, then anybody watching this can also become Lord Mayor if they apply themselves, if, in my case, become a politician. And I became a politician, a councillor for the wonderful area of Old Swan. And Old Swan is part of Liverpool. It's the area as you come off the M62 and you look to the right-hand side, and you'll see at the end of the motorway, the flyover.
Yep.
And then you'll see over to the right-hand side, that's Old Swan. And I became a councillor there in 2008, re-elected in 2012, re-elected again in 2016, and would have not been running for election this year because although it's not time to retire, I think 12 years in what I've been doing is enough time for me. So I decided I was going to retire from local politics this year. And then, of course, as we all know, we're in strange times with coronavirus, with COVID-19. And therefore, my kind of thoughts about retiring were changed by the national government when Boris Johnson decided there'd be no elections this year, and the next elections will be next year, which means legally I've got to stay on as a councillor for 1 more year until May of next year. Now, that's a good thing and a bad thing. And it's a really good thing because I enjoy working and being a voice for the people of Old Swan and doing my role as the mayoral lead for Joe Anderson in business relations and international relations. And that will continue until May of next year. But as I say, it should have finished this year. But when you plan to retire and move job, change job, some things like the new job start and you can't do anything about it. So some of the work that I had planned to do when I was retiring as a councillor would actually have started in May and did start. So I'm kind of juggling maybe sometimes too many plates. I'm juggling my role as honorary president of the Liverpool Commonwealth Association. I'm also juggling my role as the president of the Liverpool-China Partnership, as a trustee for St. George's Hall Charitable Trust, as a patron for the Michael Koza Foundation. And in the background, I have business interests as well. And then I deal with, on a daily basis, which is the job as a councillor, making sure people's bins are emptied, make sure that dog poo is cleared when we can from areas, making sure the lights are on and come on and stay on, and helping people with benefits. And as an example, yesterday, a lady in Old Swan has had to move out of her house because the landlord has not looked after her house. The floor is up. She's got no floorboards. She's got a damp hallway, a damp living room, a damp kitchen where everything's
Wow.
been ripped up, and she's meant to live there. And actually, how do we solve those kind of problems? And people that need uniforms for their children to go to school, we help with those things. With people that can't afford to eat and heat the house, we help them too with making sure they get the best benefits they can because they don't know how to get them. So we kind of help with a whole batch of issues as a counsellor. And then on top of that, I've been helping since lockdown over 600 different businesses in trying to obtain business grants that have come from the council, but from the government actually originally, the COVID-19 grants. And you've given me 10 questions, and I don't want to go through answering all those questions in the first 10 minutes of this live interview that's been broadcast to America, to Africa, to the Commonwealth, all over the world, as well as, of course, Liverpool, the city region, England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. So I kind of do these things that I'm doing now with you almost on a weekly basis. Wow. With lots of different organizations. But all of that, I love it. I absolutely adore not talking, although you might think I do enjoy talking, but I enjoy using these. I've got 2 of these and 1 of those. And actually, my job is about using these more and helping as many people as I can by listening. And then where I can, deliver, but also more importantly, and this is what politicians should do, and most 99.9% do, and that is not overpromise and underdeliver, because it's all very well for people to expect Gary to fix every problem, but the only person that can fix problems is you. But I can influence and help fix those problems, whether it's in Old Swan, whether it's in business, or whether it's in Africa, or in Australia, or in wherever there is a member of the Commonwealth. I can do as much as I can, but it's only Gary. But you know what? There's a brilliant team out there, and that team is every resident in Old Swan, every resident in Liverpool, or as they call it these days, not Merseyside, but the city region, or the Northern Powerhouse, which we can talk about later as well. It is about teamwork, and teamwork only works if you're willing to compromise, listen, be ethical, have integrity, etc. And if I keep doing this over here, pointing, you look, my fingers will go up. It's only because my phone, where we've got live Instagram live running, keeps going into sleep mode, and then I can't see my Instagram live while I'm not pressing those buttons. So every now and then I'll point somewhere, and that isn't, I'm not pointing at anybody, just myself as we go on Instagram. But so Gary Millar from Scotland, lived in Liverpool for many years, came here to go to university, supposed entrepreneur, business advisor, guidance, giving business guidance, public speaker, would love to be a singer, but my voice isn't good enough. Love to be a dancer, but my legs aren't good enough. But what I have got is the ability to listen and the ability to help where I can, but by being honest and by being upfront. And that's really important for all of us to do, whether you're a politician, a civic leader, or otherwise.
All right. Thank you so much. You see, I'm actually talking to a politician today. It's taking how many minutes to actually explain all that, Gary? Thank you so much.
My apologies. Yes.
All right, but yeah, that was really one thing about love about you is because I read your profile and everything, that you came from a nobody and you became somebody. Now, well, a part of the reason why you're on this live show is not just to discuss about COVID-19, it's not just to discuss about business, it's actually to encourage the business owners out there and the youth that you can be somebody, even if you feel, oh, where I'm coming from, I'm just I'm a nobody. Nobody knows me. I can't do anything. But you can actually get there. It takes certain steps. So I'm going to ask you, Gary, what steps were the steps you took to actually become? Because I know you have so many businesses you're running right now. You are into politics. You've won several awards. You're trusting in several so many places, so many things you're doing, which I love them. You do amazingly well. And when you talk about Oatswan, I live in Oatswan, so it's my area. So I'm fine. Well, what are the steps you took to actually being a successful entrepreneur?
To be honest, I didn't take any steps. It kind of falls into place.
Wow.
I think because of the difficulties of my background, I was in and out of care, either official foster caring or with family members. And that kind of made things difficult for me. And difficult in a way, we had no money. And actually, having no money doesn't always make it difficult, but it kind of focuses your mind on what's a priority and what is not. And it kind of reminds you, particularly today, that we could all easily become homeless, poor, have no money, and no money to put electricity or gas on. And that's what my background was like.
Hmm.
And when I went to secondary school, in fact, I explained this to some children of the same age I was when this happened, or during this week at Corinthian Primary School in Old Swan, and it was year 6, and I was explaining about working hard at school and about how changes happen, and sometimes unexpectedly, and sometimes where we listen as children too much to adults telling us we will account for nothing, we won't get anywhere. So when I was 11 years old, I was told I was stupid by a school teacher, and I was made to sit at the back of the class because I was a dunce. And she embarrassed me. And that embarrassment meant I was picked on by other children in the class, bullied. And it wasn't nice. And when I left that school, I thought, oh, I'm so pleased to leave. And I went to secondary school. Remember, I was stupid. And yet I won the history, maths, English, and arts prize the next year at secondary school, and discovered I wasn't stupid, but somebody tried to make out I was, and somebody actually was very rude in school as a teacher to me about who I was and what I wasn't. And actually what then happened is secondary school showed me, with a different form of teaching, a different kind of mentoring, a kind of buddying, a kind of support mechanism, I wasn't stupid at all. I just wasn't taught correctly. And I wasn't that particularly stable as a child, because I thought maybe I was stupid. Maybe I deserved to be bullied. Maybe I brought it on myself. And actually, and this is where the entrepreneurialism came in. So becoming an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurialism is not about business. It's about a state of mind. It's about taking risks that sometimes you make mistakes with, and sometimes you actually are successful with. And what happened is, because I didn't want to be picked on and embarrassed, and I was embarrassed by wearing hand-me-down clothes given by charity, clothes given by family, that somebody else has already worn, that might be threadbare, that might be a jumper to keep you warm in the winter, but the threads, the wool was coming out at either the elbows or at the sleeves. And I'd have to wear that to school and therefore be told by other children, oh, look at him. He smells, he's got no money, he's wearing hand-me-down clothes. So the entrepreneurism was, I went to a newsagents and said, could I deliver your newspapers? Wow. And I started doing that, and I got paid next to nothing. And I had to run up and down stairs in what they call in Scotland tenement buildings, and actually run up and then run down to deliver all the newspapers. So became very fit as well, delivering newspapers. And I did that every single day, except for a Sunday. And then I went into a local supermarket or a grocery store and asked if they had a job. And they gave me a job. And I actually was cutting bacon and cheese and serving goods across a counter using a till, taking the money from the cash into the cash drawer in a supermarket for 6 years. And that was additional money for me. And do you know why? Because I wanted to go to the local clothes shops and buy my own trousers, shirts, ties, school uniform. I paid for that, not the family, not mum and dad. I paid for that because I was earning my own money. And then, and this is a claim to fame, we were talking about this yesterday, I was in a butcher shop and I was buying the tea, the dinner, because I would cook for my dad and my middle brother, Norman. There was 3 brothers, one was disabled, mum was in hospital. So I would cook for my dad and my middle brother nearly every day. I'd clean the house at 12. I'd be ironing the clothes at 12. I'd be keeping the house at 12, up until about 15, 16 years old. And in order to do that, I'd have to go as well and use my money that I've earned delivering newspapers or cutting bacon in a grocer's. And I'd have to go and buy the tea for the family. And the tea was spaghetti hoops and beans and spam. And in this case, haslet. And I was in this butcher's buying haslet, which is a spicy, cheap meat. And this lady standing next to me in the queue, in the line, in the butcher's in Dalry Road in Edinburgh, said to the man behind the counter, "Hasn't he got a lovely smile, me?" And he said, "That's Gary. We call him Smiler. He comes in nearly every day and buys food, and we call him Smiler. And look at his dimples, and I had lovely little dimples. They kind of go as you get older. They turn into what they call crow's feet and laughter lines." But I was buying this meat, and she said, "Can you do some shopping for me?" And she was just taking pity on me. And I said yes. And she owned a Silver Cross pram shop directly opposite the butcher's. She didn't need me to do the shopping. She could have just closed the door, come across, got it, and been back in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So I shopped for her. But she said to me, "Do you know who did this job, Gary, before you did this job?" And I said, "No, who?" She said, "He's very famous. He's a spy." I said, "A famous spy?" She said, "Yeah, he's on TV, actually. He was on last night on a movie called Dr. No." And guess who that was? Sean Connery did the job that I did before, many years before.
Many years before, wow.
As a boy. And she took pity on him too, many years before. And actually, he did the same errands that I was doing for this lady. And I thought, isn't that nice that she's looking after me and paying me money to do her shopping? And do you know what? Even today, if you can see, I'll stand up slightly. I'm wearing a nice suit, a nice shirt. And that's because at the age of 12, a lady told me I could be James Bond if I wanted to be, as long as I put my mind to it. And that's entrepreneurialism. That is understanding that there are things you can do. If you want to be a singer, if you want to be an artist, if you want to be a scientist, if you want to be a mathematician, or you want somebody to empty the bins, you want to be a bin collector, you want to change the lights in Old Swan, that is entrepreneurialism, is going out and getting a job, going out and wanting to earn some money or do something good for people around you, whether you get paid for it or not, whether it's charity or social enterprise, whether it's business, whether it's going to school. All bits of that is some things. For example, at 12-year-old, do you want to study geography or Spanish? Do you want to do English and maths and physics and chemistry and biology? Or would you rather play football, do sports, and sing or do drama or play an instrument. These are choices you make. And those choices later in life are actually all decisions you've made at 12, 13, 14, whatever. So my being an entrepreneur has never been about money, never been about business, never being wealthy, but actually about not being the bullied 11-year-old who was told he was stupid at the back of the class, crying, embarrassed, and being bullied by other children for wearing hand-me-down clothes, because I don't want to go back to that. And therefore, not going back to that is sometimes always, you make choices in life. So in 2008 or 2007, I made a choice about going and becoming a politician and becoming elected, not knowing whether I was good enough or not. I made a choice of accepting in 2012 whether I become Deputy Lord Mayor of this great city, because knowing 1 year later, I'd become Lord Mayor. And actually still then, and today, even now, being interviewed by you and being on Instagram and being in Facebook or being on Zoom, all of those things make me feel like an imposter because I don't think I'm good enough. And genuinely, you said before, and it's the wrong term to use, some people think they're a nobody and some people think they're a somebody. No, everybody's an everybody. Everybody, all of us, are as important as the next person, whether that be a king, a queen, a prime minister, a councillor, a bin collector, or somebody who's not got a job. Every one of those people, all of us, are equal. It doesn't matter your religion. It doesn't matter your color. It doesn't matter your faith. It doesn't matter whether you've got no faith. It doesn't matter your gender. It doesn't matter your sexuality. All of those things are just what make you. They make you as an individual. The only thing I would say about an individual is don't forget your honesty, your integrity, your ethics, your friendship, your family, and the people that may be worse off than you, because whatever you can do, you can improve your life, their lives, and not expect in any way a thank you, applause, because I don't think I need applause or want or deserve applause. I'm here, not just in politics, to serve anybody who thinks they need help. And anybody who thinks they need help, reach out to me and reach out to others, whether that be your mum, your dad, your auntie, your granny, your granddad, your uncle, your sister, your brother, your lover, your partner, your husband, your wife. Reach out to them, particularly when during things like coronavirus, we struggle with mental health and we think this is only affecting us. We are on our own. Nobody should be on their own. It's difficult when we've got problems that we think we're on our own. That includes in business. Reach out and ask for help, because there's loads of people like Gary, like you, like the people that are watching us today that would love to help somebody else, would love to make a difference. And then they say when it's too late, if only Gary had asked, I would have been there for Gary. And I don't want that to happen. I want people to think that actually we're all there for each other. Because if we are, that makes a big difference in humanity, a big difference in humility, a big difference in empathy. And one of the things, we can explore this later, I might not be the brightest. I did do good and well. I was about to say good in English. I did do good in English. I did well in English, bad English there. But I did well in English, well in maths, well in arithmetic, and well in German and history. My favorite is history and art. All of those things, I could have done better if I applied myself better. But hold on, I became Lord Mayor of the city. I'm now Deputy Mayor of the city. I've got a couple of businesses and I'm a trustee of things. And I think, how did I get there? Who allowed me to become that person? And actually, remember that thing about dimples and smiling? So much better comes of our lives if we're a little bit more positive, a little bit more happy, even when times are tough. Find somebody who makes you happy. Find somebody who makes you smile each day and laughs, because there's no greater tonic, even when things are tough, than actually laughing and smiling. Because when you smile, when you walk in a room and these teeth flash and the eyes are, show that you're smiling, even when you're wearing a mask during coronavirus, you can still tell when somebody's happy by the way their voice is and by the way their eyes are. And you know what? It is an antidote to a lot of problems. And I think we need to do a lot more of that. We don't do enough of that. I'll shut up for a second. You must be desperate for another question.
Thanks everyone for joining us. We are live on Pacesetters business online business exhibition, and we have the deputy mayor with us today. Is Gary Millar, and he's drinking from a cup right now, the one that was given to him by the Ghanaian.
I was asked, where's my Nigerian cup? I've not been given a cup.
So Nigerians, we've not given him a cup, so we need to, and other countries as well, not just the Ghanaians. So please, he needs a mug to drink from. So
I got many mugs. No. I was given this. I was given this because I was then chair of the Liverpool Commonwealth Association. And then it was 52, then it became 53 different nations. The Commonwealth never started until 1947. So it's quite a new thing. And it's actually people apply to become, it's not part of the UK empire building. Actually, the Commonwealth members agreed to join the Commonwealth. The Ghanaians, the Nigerians, the Kenyans, the Gambians, I should say, Australia, Canada, Malta, Cyprus, they're all members.
See, and I just got a message right now. I think one of the trustees of the Nigerian community, she's online on Instagram, and she said, you are getting one soon. So
lovely. But the issue, I was chair, I'm now honorary president of the Commonwealth Association. But actually, Garth Dallas is the amazing chair now of the Liverpool Commonwealth Association. So with Vanessa Botang, with Chief Angus Chukwemeka, with Sylvia and a whole batch of others, there's many, I think there's 12 trustees and many members. They do an amazing job. And actually Garth and Vanessa and the team have taken it to a better level than it was when I was there as chair. And actually, I'm now the honorary president. But all the hard work is done by that group of amazing individuals. So thank you to them and congratulations to them and anybody who is doing something either in Africa or in Australasia or in America, North America.
Nigerians are really, I have Osa Masi online, and she said, let's make him Buba and Shokoto. And now in Nigeria, Buba and Shokoto means a top and a trouser for you. So they are going to make you what you see. Nigerians are right now.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And I have Victoria. Victoria said she's going to train you on how to dance. She said on Facebook, so note that she's a good dancer. I know her very well. She's a good dancer, so she's going to train you how to dance since you said you don't know how to dance. And here I have someone that said positive mind and cheerful heart is the key. Brilliant. Thanks, Gary. You've broken it down. You're giving us the steps and everything you need. It's actually not a step, but actually having a positive mind and going after what you think is right. Now I know you've mentioned it that you are the honorary president of the Liverpool Commonwealth Association. So what are the things in place by the Liverpool Commonwealth Association for businesses in Liverpool at this period? Do they have anything? You're the president, or I can ask Garth that question. But if you're ready to answer the question, I'm fine with it.
Do ask Garth that question. Get Garth on this. It would be amazing. Garth is a wonderful, positive individual His smile is bigger than mine.
Yeah.
He is just wonderful. So he'd be best placed to
Answer that
explain
question.
how the Commonwealth Association gives assistance. I do give assistance to many businesses. In fact, before I became a councillor and a politician, I probably helped many, many thousands of individuals get into business and do things in business that might help improve what they do. And that has continued whilst I've been a councillor. I used to get paid money to give guidance to businesses, but when I became a councillor, my integrity and honesty level is such that I didn't want anybody to believe that I'm still helping businesses, still getting paid for it. So I do it pro bono now and have done for over 12 years, since 2008. And I don't know all the answers, but I may know people who know some more answers.
Yeah.
Nobody has got every answer to making every business successful, not even the person running the business. And in business, and it's quite fascinating, and I'm not going to be technical here, in business, some of us are really good at managing the numbers, doing the accounts, and be very detailed. So that would be an accountant, a lawyer, a scientist, etc. But other people are very good at finding products and researching products and selling them. So standing on a stage or one-to-one and talking about their amazing cup. This cup was given to me by the Merseyside Association of Guyanans. Now that, if I was to say to somebody in a shop, that would cost you £5, they would buy it for £5. But Gary Millar in that shop would say, but you know what? This was held by the chief of this and actually was a gift to the, let's say, the king or the queen or the prince or the president or the prime minister. And I would sell it to you for £20. And you want to buy it because it has provenance, it has history, it has something special about it. Now, look, that's interesting.
Yeah.
That is your right brain. The right part of your brain is the expressive, the emotional, the creative part. And the technical, scientific, mathematical, the numbers, is your left brain. Two different parts of the same body. None of us are experts in all of the above. And that's why in business, you have to find people who are really good at what you're not good at.
Yeah.
And it might be that you bring a partner into the business, a director. You may have been a sole trader. When I was a sole trader, I was doing okay. But then I got people better than me at doing things like the technical stuff, and my business took off. But I kind of stumbled into it because I thought as an early stage business that only Gary Millar could do this. That is arrogant because actually I'm only good at certain things.
Yeah.
So in business, there's a thing called Trinity of management. Trinity is 3 ways. People in business are good at 2 of those things, but not 3, and maybe only 1.
Yeah.
But if they found somebody else who was good at what you're not good at, bring them in and your business will take off. So therefore, when you're giving guidance, is find out what makes you tick, what makes you good, and then say, what do I need to do? It may be I bring in staff. It may be I bring in a contractor, a consultant, or a bureau service to do what I'm not good at. And I'll give you one example. Payroll, paying people wages and salaries, HR, all those kind of things. Some people are good at it, some people are not. Well, go and do what I did. get a bureau service from my accountants who'll do all of that for me. And it saves me worrying about P60s, P32s, the legislation, working directives, all of those things. That's where I'm not an expert. I find somebody else. So when you're giving guidance to people, you might not know all the answers, but Gary Millar, the Commonwealth Association, my business clinic outside of lockdown at Central Library, those things are actually not about just business advice, but it's about guidance, signposting, facilitation, listening, not being judgmental, definitely not judgmental, being impartial, but reminding the person opposite you, the only person that can make this successful is you getting up in the morning, you doing the business, listening and learning from others. And we therefore point them in the direction of those others by the guidance that we give. And that's normally finding another spoke in those three spokes on a trinity on a wheel, finding the spokes that are currently not working because you've not got the experience, the skill, etc., and find somebody else that has. That's what the Commonwealth Association can do. It's what I can do. And what in Central Library at my business clinic is volunteer-led. It's volunteer specialists. Nobody gets paid. I don't get paid. It doesn't get paid for by the council, by the government, or anyone else. And you know, when we started it in 2015, I made a mistake. I cut the ribbon at the opening of the Business and Intellectual Property Centre at Central Library. And I said, what do you do here? And they said, well, you've got access to databases, you've got access to workshops and business experience from people that come in here at these workshops, and we give business guidance. And I said, who gives the business guidance? And they said, the librarians. And I asked if they'd been in business, and the head of library said no, but they've attended all the courses. So I said, Garth Dallas was there. I said, what you need is an entrepreneur in residence. And that's what I became then in January of 2015. And 1 week later, I started every Thursday of every week since a business clinic helping people do better in business, pre-start businesses, new start businesses, growing businesses, failing businesses. And sometimes we sit there and I would actually write out a press release and then send it to the press for them. Or I'd find somebody who would help them with a new invention or brand protection or copywriting or trademarking or marketing or getting money from a lender like a bank or some finance agency. But it's all non-judgmental. It's all impartial. And now we've got a core 12 people that I can rely on normally outside of lockdown, 12 people who will come in every Thursday between 1 and 4 o'clock and help those people. Now, today we can't run it. The library won't let us. It's in lockdown mode. The library is open, but we can't do our service there. So during lockdown, we've helped 600 businesses not every week, because that's too many, but 600 businesses where every week, every day, yesterday, this morning, I've been guiding people.
Gary, sorry to cut you about that. That's one of the key points I really want to discuss today, because I'm sure some of our viewers don't even know about this clinic. I remember the first time I came, the first question we were asking was, Titi, how's Tammy's hair? Which is something you're actually interested in. So what I want, I really want you to enlighten people on how to be part of it. So if you want to be during lockdown, do you have an online series that you do? Do you have, is it virtual? Do you do anything at all during the lockdown? Then after the lockdown, how do we get on board to actually be part of it?
Well, the quickest thing to do is send me a Twitter account message to Gary Millar, Millar, Gary with one R. So Gary Millar, or go on to Instagram, Gary Millar UK, and send me a message, or send me an email to gary.miller@liverpool.gov.uk. Gary.miller@liverpool.gov.uk. Send me a message, and then through the library, we can give you some help. But actually, what I'll then do is if you send me your telephone number and also a very brief kind of idea of what your expectation is, what your problem is, what you'd like to know more about, then I will give you that help.
Brilliant. So
That's straightforward.
And it's free. He actually does this free. He's been doing it for years now. So we really need to take advantage of this. Now I have about 2 people online actually on Zoom right now that want to ask Gary a question. But before that, I know our time is really fast spent. Gary, I have this there's this business thing that's going on, that is the grounds, the business for COVID and all that.
Yes.
Can you enlighten our people how to actually get on board, how to get the funding and all that?
Well, sadly, everyone is too late.
Yo.
The government gave Liverpool City Council back on the 1st of April of this year, at the beginning of lockdown, £107 million to distribute to any business that operates from a business premises who pays or is the registered business rate payer to the government. So the Valuation Office Agency, that's not the council, that's the government, lists all business rated premises nationally on a database. And some people pay business rates and some people don't. But even though they're still listed, because they get small business rate relief. And therefore, up until the 28th of August, you could apply for a COVID grant. 28th of August was the end of it. They also gave out about 2 months ago a further 5.4 million for those that still operate from business premises and don't pay business rates, and they don't get a business rate bill. So they may have been in shared business accommodation, serviced accommodation, or managed workspace. So places like the Women's Organization, as an example, or Avenue HQ, where they may have incubating units, or Regis. If they were based there, then they'd get a grant based on how many people they employed. That also ended on the 28th of August. And
Wow.
that's not the council's decision, that was a government's decision.
Okay.
Even though Liverpool still had close to 6 million left of the 107, the government asked for it back. And I wanted to give it to those who take dividends, but not wages, not salaries, so couldn't get furlough, couldn't get self-employment grants. They've had nothing at all. They've had to sign on to universal credit. So why couldn't the government have left us with that money? But they decided to take it back, and they decided to close it off. And that's not healthy in so many ways, where nationally up to 6 million people got no help at all. That's dreadful. And it's not helpful now that some of those businesses where furloughing is going to end very soon. And I don't want that to happen, because as soon as it ends, you'll find far too many people becoming unemployed because of lockdown, because of restrictions, because of the changing circumstances of businesses. We all have to stay well. We all have to stay healthy, but we also have to, put food on the table and keep ourselves warm during winter months and so on, and put nice clothes on, or warm clothes on. They don't have to be nice, just warm clothes. And I'm really worried about us going forward later this year when all the funding ends. But sadly, the COVID business grant you just mentioned did end on the 28th of August. Wow. So I can't help with that one.
Oh, wow. So that's gone, everyone. Sorry. But about the for small businesses, that's those that are not on business rating, I mean the sole traders, was there anything from the council? Was there anything at all? No provision at all for everyone?
No, the provision, well, the council can't afford it. The council currently has about £50 million more money that it has not got, that it has to find from the government and others. And the government did say at the beginning of the lockdown, no authority, no council in the country would be worse off at the end of coronavirus. Well, Liverpool is up to about £50 million worse off. That is buying more PPE or personal protective equipment. That is more money being spent on schools, more money being spent on adult social care. It's dreadful. It really is hugely, hugely worrying. The money that it did get for businesses was 107 plus the 5.4, but for specific uses only that were mandated by government and had no real control of by the city councils. So the self-employed and those that were self-employed but didn't get any help at all, the government did not give any extra money for those. So answering your question, no, there is no more money coming currently to the councils to help those individuals as well.
All right, that's brilliant. Thank you so much. Now, I'm going to go online. I'm going to ask you a question right now
Yes.
about let me see. Okay, sorry. I want to bring one of our guests in. He has about 2 questions. I'm just looking at our Instagram. Instagram might log us out at any moment. But if it logs out, please, Gary, I'm going to log you back in again and
Fine.
continue the conversation. So I have Amadou on the line. I'm just going to show him right now. Let's see. Amadou, I believe you're there. So I'm bringing you live on. Are you ready, please? Yeah, Amadou.
He's still muted.
So Amadou, can you unmute yourself, please? Now,
Oh
so
yeah,
on Instagram, you might actually not be able to see him.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's fine.
yeah. Amadou, please ask your question away. Introduce yourself and ask your question, please.
Hiya, Gary. Thank
Hello
you
there.
very much for having me. So I am co-founder of Citrus Cosmetics. First of all, I want to ask you if you have a book first, so I can purchase it as soon as possible, because I've been listening to you and it's been so interesting.
Thank you, thank you. Well, when I finish as a counsellor, I am going to be writing a book, but it's not about me. It shouldn't be about me, but I'm a genealogist, so I'm doing a lot of ancestry information. And you won't believe this, but I've gone back to Cleopatra and Mark Antony. But I'm going to write about some of my dysfunctional ancestors, which will make a very good story, because there's lots of interesting things happening, but not about me. It's never about me. Yeah, but please, you've got some questions for me.
Oh yeah, the second one is it's about businesses that are Black-owned businesses that want to really be in the center of Liverpool economy. Let's say a Black-owned business that want to, open a retail shop in the city center, because I've done my researches. There is no single Black-owned business in the entire Liverpool city center. So we, as a company, want to establish ourselves as one of the companies that will be the first to open a retail shop in Liverpool city center. But we already seen so much stereotyping, which is making us a bit uncomfortable, and it's a really challenging situation. Is there any type of support that are given to people who are willing to to go beyond that step of not just being laid down or just sit down and then say, no, I can't do it because I'm from the Black and minority background?
Well, it's interesting. You're right. There are from a BAME background, there was many businesses, but not Black, not African, not Afro-Caribbean. But there's lots of businesses in the city and the city centre. that are not necessarily just white owned. However, to own a business, to run a business, and to actually open a shop, I have many people come to me, particularly about either fashion or hospitality, who want to open something in Castle Street. And they come to me and say, I want to open a coffee shop in Castle Street. And I'll say, have you gone and checked how much it costs with an estate agent to rent a space in Castle Street? And the answer is they haven't. And then they discover that Castle Street used to be 15,000 a year to rent a small shop in Castle Street. It's now, today, about £50,000 for the same place. And I would actually, without judging the situation, would say, don't open in the city centre, because 50,000 means that your rateable value will be about another 25. So before you open the door, what are you selling? Because can you sell enough cups of coffee in a small place with a small number of tables and chairs? And the answer is no, I can't, because I've got to spend too much money on wages, electricity, equipment, chairs, tables, and whatever. So business isn't actually about your ethnicity. Business is about having the wherewithal to actually afford to do it. Therefore, it is up to you as an entrepreneur to take that gamble about whether, with the right research and the right support, where I want to open my store. It's gone now. There was a couple of stores. One was in Bold Street and one was in the basement of the George Henry Lee building, that actually had Black-owned businesses selling clothing, jewellery, and I think some cosmetics. So there was. But the only way they could get into the city centre, where the majority of the shops were big, was by taking small, by actually having like a market stall in the place. But that's the same for anybody from a kind of a background that has less money, that are not big investors, that haven't actually got tens of thousands of pounds to spend on their business. So therefore, it's, are you investor ready? Have you got the right product? Now, it may be, because you just said you own Citrus Cosmetics, I think you said.
Yes.
I would go into places like John Lewis and say, can I have a concession stand here? Because that's what they do. Every single place that sells cosmetics in John Lewis and Debenhams and others, they are not stores. It's not John Lewis, it's not Debenhams. It's a concession inside the store. And that's where I would go. However, selling cosmetics, there are more and more, and I've got friends in that industry who are doing more business than John Lewis in that kind of range or style of cosmetics online, using Instagram and Etsy and other online programs like Shopify and Wix. So actually, do you want to spend £75,000 on a small place in the city centre to sell products that you could sell more of online than you would in the city centre? So what you have to balance is, what's my profit margin? What's my bottom line? What's my turnover? What's my cost? What's my direct cost? And what's my sales likely to be? So what I would suggest, and I bet you're doing this already, is you should be, like every business, exploring online and bricks and mortar. And actually, I've got a friend who was doing really well on selling children's clothing online. But she's doing even better now by selling it online and in Woolton Village. She's opened her own store in Woolton Village. So it's not always about being in a city centre, because the city centre cost base is about 3 times higher than Woolton Village.
All right, Gary, 1 minute. I'm on my Instagram right now. It's
Right.
counting down to the end. So
okay.
just give me like a few seconds and I'll bring you back on. Stay tuned, Amadou. Just stay tuned there. I see I have another guest that wants to ask you questions, Larry. So give me a few, it's 35 seconds going now.
Well, let us just keep speaking to
Let's just keep speaking, yeah, and I'll look you back on.
So it's not about whether you're black or not about being in the city centre. Lots of people struggle to get into the city centre. And it's normally partnerships and people with a lot of money that get into the city centre. And I couldn't afford to be in Castle Street. It's too much money. If I wanted a coffee shop, it cost me 100 grand for the kitchen and the equipment and the furniture first. And then it would cost me 75 grand just to rent it before the door opens. I'm just watching Instagram. Have you come back on again? I think you're on again.
Almost, not yet, not yet.
Just 1 second. But it's about some people have opened in the city centre who first opened in Duke Street and then have expanded into other venues when they make more money in Duke Street or in Woolton Village or in Walton or in Speke, and actually they've done well there, and now they think, let's go to the city centre. But they've had to make the money first before they could move into the city centre. But I would be looking at, and you may not want to do this, but I would be looking at
live on Instagram.
Right. So do I need to go back on again? I do, yes, don't
please.
I? Sorry about this, everyone.
That's fine. That's fine.
I'm now going on to another. It's not come up with a question yet about going live.
Almost.
Okay.
Keep talking.
But so that's not the answer that you really want to hear. But it's an honest answer about everybody struggles to get into the city centre. And very often it's based on the ability to pay the rent and pay the business rates that prevent a lot of people not going into the city centre. What I want to see is more black representation working in shops and working in bars and working in hotels and working in the city centre, because it doesn't represent our community. The BAME community in particular in Liverpool is 12%. But 1 second, I'm just going back onto live.
Yep.
I'm going to send you that request. Let's send that request. And we should be live again.
Yeah.
Somebody else has joined. I think I'm just joining again.
Yeah, about a couple of people already live on Instagram again.
There we are. We're back again.
Yep.
My apologies. 12% of our community is from a BAME background, but it isn't presented that way by going shopping in the city centre. That should improve. That should be improved by those shops, stores, venues, etc. It's 6% across the city region, but it's 12% in Liverpool. There's not enough representation from our Muslim communities, from our black communities, etc. If you went shopping down Bowl Street into Castle Street and Liverpool 1, I'd like to see that change massively. Yeah, and maybe you could be one of the employers. You could be one of the first ones.
Pardon?
You could be one of those first employers if you're able to find a shop in the city centre.
No, we are actually established in the city centre already, but moving from a market stall to a proper shop, we have already done everything that needs to be done. It's just like the next stop from A to B now. But what we found out is people who have already established, as soon they know, this is citrus cosmetic, that Black African man that want to move from day to day, they end up like approaching us and saying, why do you really want to do that? Do you think you can, you can be successful there? But I've seen those people who are telling me that they are already doing the same things, they are successful, but maybe it's because I'm Black, that's why I may not be able to be successful. They're selling the same stuff as me, but they are there. But why me, us, we can just not be there? Because there's the market there, for the product we have. We do not only sell to the Black community. Half of our product is cosmetic for white people and Caucasian people and all other people. So there's a demand for it. You just have to be to the right place to offer. So but once we started doing the move, we had a lot of people coming to us saying, "Do you really want to do that? Are you sure what you want to do?" I've done,
Can I interrupt you just for 1 second? Never ever have people telling you you cannot do something.
Yeah.
That's a fundamental concern in business, where I've met many people who have been told, "Oh, don't go into that business because I've got a mate, I've got a friend, I've got a family member who tried that and it never worked." It's not about the product. It's about location, about attitude. And it's about, if somebody said to me, "You can't do something," it makes me more determined to do it.
Exactly.
To make it happen, make it happen. And that's the right positive attitude to have. Far too many people say things can't be done, when in fact, with the right attitude, they can. The problem you've got is, if I was to go into Lord Street today, I would not find any independent businesses, not one. If I went into Lord Street, Castle Street, Church Street, not one independent business. The closest I can find to independent would be the likes of outside Central Station or up Bold Street. But even Bold Street's becoming expensive. And actually, Bold Street did win Best Independent Street in the United Kingdom about 5 years ago, because it was lots of independents. But those independents have now grown into properties that again have become so expensive. But Bold Street is a great place to be as an independent business. If you went into Church Street or into Lord Street, you're competing with the perfume shop or Le Cocktaine or Topshop or Gap or H&M. These are all national chains, and those national chains rely on the brand, like Caffè Nero, Starbucks, the Nando's kind of places. They rely on brand attracting customers. But if you try and find me an independent business down those streets, and you won't see them anywhere. And that's the problem, is the cost of running in those streets is hugely expensive. And therefore the closest would be Bold Street or coming into parts of the area around Castle Street. But business has other things that make it successful. And it's the right attitude. It's also the right location. It's relying on enough people coming past your door. And if there's not enough people coming past your door, where you spent all that money, for example, on a cafe for a kitchen, whatever, you could have done it in County Road and made much more money in County Road because many more people are walking past and the rent is lower. So I wouldn't say always the city centre is the best place to be, but actually be in a place like County Road would be a great place to be, I would suggest, as long as you've got enough people coming past. And it doesn't matter what, if they're white or black or whatever, if your cosmetics make us look younger, feel better, and make our skin blossom and glow, I would buy it as long as I knew where to go and get it. So it'll be, how do you market? Where's your location? How many people will walk past? And actually, what's your social media presence? And the next thing is, I know we want to move on, but the next thing is, tell us what your Instagram account is. Tell us what your Twitter account is. And then we'll all, watching this, follow you and start buying more of your product. Use this exposure to get more exposure. So what is it?
Citrus Cosmetics.
Citrus, is that it? Right, okay. You've heard it here first, everyone.
Citrus Cosmetics, please follow him on Instagram. On Facebook too, you have an account on Facebook, if I'm right? Yes, so please follow him and please let's patronize him. He's in St. John's Market. So please go to him and please follow Gary Millar. He has.
Yeah, I've tried to follow you on Twitter, but I wasn't able to. I don't know why.
Did you how did you spell my name?
Yeah. No, I've seen people tagging you, but I don't know why I couldn't.
So simply,
Okay.
it's Gary Millar. I'll put a message up on Pacesetters after this, and then you could follow from there.
So guys, please
Okay,
go and follow him.
that's fine. Thank you. And wait for my invitation during our opening, when we opening the shop.
Brilliant. I'd love to come. And did I answer your question? Good. Thank you.
Perfectly.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Right.
Gary.
Thank you, Pace. Thank you, Gary.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
Good
So
luck.
if you're watching us,
Thank you.
on with the deputy mayor, please, if you have a question, if you want to ask him live question, please, you are free to join us. Just send us a message on 07847093953, and then you'll be able to join us live on the show. Okay, Amadou, please, you can log out now.
Help me. Yeah, I don't even know how to do that. It's my first time on here.
Just
so
leave the meeting.
Could you log me off, please?
Just leave the meeting. Thank you so much. All right, so I have someone online that actually, Patrick is asking a question. He said he wants to know, are you able to provide business advice to those in Manchester, or is it just outside your area of focus?
I give advice to people in Timbuktu, in Johannesburg, in Madrid, in New York. If people ask me for advice, I will give that advice. It's guidance, not necessarily professional advice. I don't know Patrick. I don't know his business. It's always nice to either Zoom or to have at least a telephone conversation, but I'm happy to help anybody, because you know what? Whether you're in Manchester or Madrid or Lagos, it doesn't matter. You could be doing business in Liverpool. You could be employing people in Liverpool, and you could be selling to customers here. So I'm here to help as many people as I can if time permits. So good luck with your business, Patrick. You've got my Twitter account. I've just put Gary Millar up on Instagram through the Fashion Hub as well. So maybe you want to share that, but send me a message and I'll do what I can.
Brilliant. So I have one more person online. Sorry, Gary, we're taking your time today. I have Taya. Taya, I believe you're ready for your question. So I'm going to bring you up right now to ask your question. So Taya, are you there?
She's there.
She's there. All right. Thank you.
Hi, Gary.
Hello there. How are you doing?
Good. Hi, Titi.
Hi, Taya.
Oh, wow. I'm just so inspired just listening to you. I'm thinking I should have been taking down notes here. There's just so much that you've given, so much information. So thank you very much. And well, I'm a fashion designer and I'm based on the Wirral. So I network a lot with people in Liverpool. And I have attended your business clinic in Liverpool. It was back in 2016, where I had a business idea that I'm working on, and I'm still working on it, and you're going to hear about it. It's going to be really exciting. So I did attend the clinic, and they referred me to the women's organization, and they spoke about you. I think at the time you were on holiday when I attended, but they talked about you and how you involved with like the textile industry and all this and all that. Fast forward to 2019, I did attend one of your networking events. It was amazing. It was at the Fashion Hub. I know you haven't spoken much about the Fashion Hub, so I'm really interested to know a bit about that, because I have attended the networking event, and that was the time that you signed the agreement with the Portugal textile industry. And there was a trip that you organized to go to Portugal. Unfortunately, I didn't quite make it on the trip, but I was really interested. But what came out of that networking event, I got loads of contacts for the manufacturers in Portugal. And I did promise to come and see them at some time, because I specialize in women's wear. And yeah, so I know about your work and how amazing you are. So I want to know a bit more about the Fashion Hub, because I've just shared this on my Facebook, and I will share it on my page. And within my network, I know quite a few other designers based in and around Liverpool, and I am actually working on with some of them for this project that I'm working on that you would definitely hear about. So can you just give us a bit more information about the Fashion Hub?
So in 2015, I've already explained the business clinic at Central Library and how I became an entrepreneur in residence and how Garth Dallas became an entrepreneur in residence as well. And every week we run this clinic, and you've come in 2016. And what I was discovering, what we were discovering, is that many people like you would be asking for guidance in the world of fashion. And many would say, I've been to John Moores University, I've done a fashion degree, or they may have been at the City of Liverpool College and they're doing a fashion qualification, a design qualification, or the same in terms of textiles with the creative campus at Liverpool Hope University at the top of Islington. And they would say, but what they don't teach me is how to go into business and how to actually make money and commercialize it. And I kind of started exploring in my head the concept of a fashion hub. And there wasn't any place you could go to in the Northwest that would give that guidance, a bit like the women's organization, but about fashion. And cutting a long story short, I eventually met a stakeholders group, a CIC, a community interest company, that told me about the fabric district in Liverpool between London Road and Islington, between John Moores University and the Liverpool Hope University. And I was invited to a meeting. And during that meeting, one individual offered me free use of their ground floor premises to create a fashion hub. Unfortunately, it was 3 years away. They hadn't built the building yet. But when they did, I could have the ground floor free of charge for about 5 years. And I couldn't take that up because I wanted to do it now. And then somebody else said, you could have my former restaurant in Stafford Street next to Abercan and El Nilo and all the other fabric places. And I said, well, that sounds great, but for how long? Free of charge, remember? I'm Scottish. I don't like spending money. Brilliant. Anyway, 2 years. But that means by today, it would have been closed because they've got plans for something else. And then somebody said to me, I've got space, but it's not free. And it might be ideal. So I went to this decrepit, messy, pigeon poo covered warehouse with old tires and old stuff just lying around and a bit of dampness and fluorescent lighting hanging from the ceiling, but not the way it should be hanging. And I fell in love with it. And I could see in my head an incubation center, a bar, a cafe, an event space. And I built it. I rent it now. So it cost me money. I don't own the building. I rent the building. And I took a 5-year lease in 2018. But we started working on it in 2017 to allow people like you to come along and rent incubation space, to get mentoring, to get a buddy, to get somebody that could hold your hand, that wouldn't judge you, that could point you in the right direction, but also create partnerships with other places like John Moores University, like Liverpool Hope University, like going to Portugal, about finding other textile suppliers, manufacturers overseas, but more importantly, bringing them here to Liverpool. So we took a big gamble and spent a lot of money creating the Fashion Hub, the first in the Northwest, back in 2017/18. I signed the lease on the 1st of March to open properly on the 1st of April 2018. And we have a variety of fashion creative businesses in our space now. We have 6 incubation units in the big warehouse space on the ground floor, in what I call the catwalk space. We have a professional cinema system and a professional sound system to do fashion shows, conferences, events, and such in the space. We have a cafe and a bar there as well. We have 2 very trendy studios above the bar. One has actually opened as a spa only about a month ago, where they look after your skin, look after your body. We've got somebody who's moved in that does energy. It's not all about fashion. It's not all about the fashion industry, but it's about things like makeup that relates to the fashion industry. So we actually have a film studio, the Global Makeup and Film Academy, but they do makeup for film, for fashion shows, etc. I've adopted, and she won't mind me telling you this, a black female who was homeless, who went through some issues, and she came to see me at Central Library, and she wants, with her business partner, to revamp, to recycle old clothing and old furniture. So I've adopted her and brought her in. So she is doing that, turning old clothes into new clothes, and is doing well in there. We're mentoring her too. We've got people making clothes for streetwear and for evening wear in there as well. We have one large studio, which I'm now looking at making 3, possibly 2, because nobody starting up in business can afford the rent of a larger space, because it's just too expensive. It's too expensive with rent, but also too expensive with business rates as well. If we make it smaller, we can get rid of the business rates and actually make it more affordable, and we're looking at doing that too. So the rentable space is doing well. The event space was doing well until lockdown, and it's made more difficult by the numbers that you are now allowed to come into that space. But we have fashion shows, we have sewing machines, and I bet everybody here knows the term hot desking. Well, I've invented the term hot sewing. And you can come along, and for half a day, an hour, or whatever, you can use our industrial sewing machines to actually run up things, make things in our premises by hot desking and hot sewing as well. And then you could put on your fashion show.
Gary, what happens? You're no longer on Instagram.
I know it's gone into standby mode. 1 second. Are we back?
I'm live, you're not. Can't see you on Instagram again.
Hold on, let's go back in again. Yeah, it went on to standby mode. It's
okay.
The wonders of technology. So to go back to your comments about the Fashion Hub, it didn't exist. It now exists. In my ownership of the business of the Fashion Hub will continue for another 2.5 years. And then I hope that either the tenants, the incubation tenants, the fashion designers take it on as a cooperative. It was never created for me to make money. I don't make any money from it whatsoever. In fact, we lose money on it every single month. It's been made more difficult for us because of coronavirus, because you need to have a balance of rentable space and events, fashion shows, in order, and charge for them in order to pay the bills, to pay the electricity, to pay the wages, to pay the rent, and to pay the rates. And all of those things are not cheap. But Steve and myself, my business partner and myself, we are subsidizing it to make sure that people like you have got a place to come and work, or to come and show your goods, your clothing, to do a fashion show or an exhibition and such. And that will continue for 2.5 more years till 2023. And then I hope somebody else will take it on. I did it to help people like you, but I also did it to pay it forward to help make a difference by being one of the first newest businesses moving into the fabric district. If you're looking for us, we are about 1 minute's walk from TJ Hughes, 5 minutes from Lime Street, and we're almost next to Lidl, next to the Royal Hospital. So the Royal Liverpool Hospital, it's that kind of direction. We do fashion shows with fashion designers and with Hope University and with John Moores University. And we want to see more of those happening. And I want to see more groups, discussion groups, poetry groups, music groups, fashion groups, using the space, because if they don't, it won't pay the bills. So I want to see more of that. But also, like-minded people are working together in there, and they all bounce off each other. And to go back to my very first conversation about the trinity of management, we might be great designers, but we might not be great business people. We might not be good at the books, doing the figures, or the branding, or the social media, or the online content. Other people are, and they can give help. And that's what we kind of attract, is like-minded individuals that come in on a daily basis. And actually, if you didn't want to work there, come in for breakfast, because we do an amazing vegan, we do an amazing veggie, we do an amazing big platter breakfast, or we sell nice wine. Come in for all of that, and it's called the Fashion Hub.
Wow. I've got a question for you. Is there a cover stitch machine?
A which machine?
Cover stitch.
No, there isn't. We've got, do you mean an overlocker?
No, this one's a cover stitch. So it works like an overlocker, but it's got like a double stitch rather than the one. It's the one that you'd see like on t-shirts and on stretch fabrics.
Oh, yeah. Actually, I think we do, but it's not mine. Let me find out. Could you send me a message and I'll come back to you on that? We've got
an embroidery machine.
Right. Come back to me on those and I will find out. We've got, I can say straight away, we've got heat presses, we've got foil and vinyl cutters, we've got sublimation in partnership, not ours, with Does upstairs in the Tapestry building. The Tapestry building is an amazing space. We're part of the Tapestry complex. All of us together, it's quite interesting. We beat the entire North as the Tapestry building as being the most inspirational place to work in the North, beating Manchester, beating Leeds, beating Sheffield, because we all work together. So Does, on the first floor of the Tapestry building, have a sublimation printer, a laser cutter, a 3D printer, right? All of that. So it's not just about us, it's about working in teamwork. They've got things that we haven't. So that's what I mean. I will find out what have they got that we haven't got.
Yeah, well, that's really interesting, because now I know for my next fashion show, I'll definitely be using this space.
You'll be very welcome.
I know fashion has changed because of the whole COVID situation, but at one point in the near future, or in the next 2 years, we'll definitely be wanting to put on a show. And I will keep you updated, because there's a really interesting project I've been working on, which is fashion related in the city.
Brilliant.
I've had help from the Liverpool City Council, and
Yes.
I know about this, but yeah, I'll speak to you more about that. But
what I would like to do, and sorry to interrupt you, I didn't answer one of your questions, and I will do it very quickly. But one thing I must mention is through the local enterprise partnership, which is part of the combined authority for all 6 authorities, there is a local growth hub. And if you're based in the Wirral, I think it's run through Wirral Chamber of Commerce. And if you're based in Liverpool, it's run through Liverpool City Council. And go online, either use Bing or Google and type in local growth hub, and you will see both a telephone number, an email address, and the website, and it will give you further information about getting free advice. In addition, sign up with the women's organization for the Merseyside Enterprise Hub. I am chair of its forum of the Merseyside Enterprise Hub, and they will give you free hand-holding for a period of time. And I'll introduce you to Ali McGrath for that. So don't forget, there are people outside of my business clinic. There are the Local Growth Hub, the Merseyside Enterprise Hub, and others who will give you assistance in business. But the question you raised, or you implied, about Portugal, what I should say, if anybody is watching this online, you do not have to go to Turkey, go to China, go to Bangladesh, go to the Philippines or Thailand or Vietnam or Laos or Cambodia for your textiles. The textile capital of Europe, where they make textiles and they also make clothing, is actually Portugal. And it's a city called Famalicão, Vila de Famalicão, Vila de Nova Famalicão. It's near Porto, it's near the airport. If you were able to fly, it would take you 2.5 hours from John Lennon Airport to fly to Porto, and another 20 minutes to go to Famalicão to visit textile factories who could either sell you off the shelf great contemporary and traditional tweed, linen, etc. cloth, but also contemporary clothing and contemporary textiles from actually a very short distance away. So in terms of the environment and green technology and the circular economy, I would rather buy my fabrics and textiles from somewhere closer that reduces the impact on the environment by actually going away over far away to China or to Philippines or whatever. The prices are not that different. They're faster. They can be with you in 2 days, as opposed to 2, 3 weeks or 2 months. So actually, it's worth looking at Portugal for the supply of clothing, and I can introduce you to organizations that can prototype and manufacture on site for you within 3 hours from here. Isn't that better than going further afield?
Yeah.
And even if it is slightly different in price, it doesn't matter. You get it faster and you get it a little bit more expensive. But I'd rather be impacting my environment and the green technology element of it, or the greening of it, by shopping more local. I'd rather do it here in Liverpool. And that's what I'd love us to learn, is how do we make more clothing in Liverpool than having to go to Portugal or having to go to China. However, we've got our Nigerian friends and our Kenyan friends and our Ethiopian friends, our Bangladeshi friends through the Commonwealth Association, who make great designs, clothing, etc., and textiles in Africa, India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh that actually we should not discount because it's authentic. It's made in villages. It's made by people that don't get paid enough wages. And the more money we spend in those communities ethically, the more they get paid, etc. So I'm not saying everything should happen in Portugal or everything happen in China or everything happen in Liverpool. We have to remain authentic, but we also have to remember we want to reduce the impact on our environment. And that's what things like Portugal or Liverpool can deliver.
Wow, that's amazing. Just one more question.
Yes.
I don't know if there's going to be normal again, but the new normal, what would be the usual opening hours of the Fashion Hub?
Well, the Fashion Hub is open every day, even with the new normal. I hate that term. That new normal is open from 8:30 in the morning till 5 o'clock every day, except for Sunday, where it closes at 3:30. So you can go into the Fashion Hub. If you're a tenant, you can go in 24 hours. So we've actually got people going in at midnight when they feel they've got to use a sewing machine or a bit of creativity. And we have on a daily basis almost, we have arts classes, fabric classes and such run by our tenants who they show and tell. They kind of create things and they teach people. We have with a couple of housing associations, Plus Dane is one, Regenda another. Regenda in particular, they use our premises 2 days a week, and they bring in people from disadvantaged groups or for those needing help in care, etc. And they bring them in every week, twice a week. And they do arts classes and they do such, creativity classes. It's a great vibe. When it's busy, it's busy. When it's quiet, it's comfortable. When it's quiet and it's like the ideal place just to meditate and be inspired, it kind of creates that kind of environment. I've designed it. I've built it with the help of Stephen, but also with the staff, with the team. It's all my. When I said I kind of first built it, when I saw this dingy, messy warehouse, and it was a mess, I actually dreamt how it would look.
Wow.
And from the dream to what it became is what it is. And I've got this huge brass peacock in the reception area as you come in. And
I wish we had opportunity to actually come in and do that. I was looking forward to actually seeing that place again and showing everyone what it really looks like there. But
we'll tell you what we'll do. Why don't you interview Taya, Amadea, and others in the future about them next, and others, and come in, use the space and film there, and then show people what it looks like, because it kind of, very quickly, we had a small group of people came in on Friday. Wow. And this older man came in, a local from Islington, and he said, "How long have you been here?" And I said, 2.5 years. And he said, "I've seen you, but I never thought it was a place for me to come in." And I said, "Well, you're welcome anytime." His name is Jimmy. Jimmy must be about 70. And he's sitting on a chair, having a drink next to the peacock. And he said, "Can I say something? This is the most beautiful place I've ever sat in." And he's never sat in it before. And do you know what he was doing? He was drinking a pint of draft beer. Nothing fancy, just sitting there, soaking up the atmosphere and enjoying it. So he's not a designer, he's not a creative, but he told me he was inspired. And I thought, perfect, we've cracked it. If anybody can come in and feel comfortable, and an old man in his 70s come in, we've done something right.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. Taya?
Wow, thank you so much. I'm inspired just listening to you, and everything you've mentioned about the Fashion Hub is what I'm passionate about. I'm passionate about art, fashion, beauty, everything you've summed up is just me. So I'll definitely be making use of the Fashion Hub.
If you're available next Friday,
yes.
I will be there in the afternoon.
Yeah, I'm coming there to next Friday.
Come and see me. Come in if you've got time. Come along, pop in. I'll give you a coffee, and you can just sit there and just marvel at the space.
Next Friday, I think I'll be there. What time are you in, Gary?
I'll if you're coming, I'll be there whenever you're going to be there. I'll try and get there for about 1 p.m. in the afternoon.
1 p.m. it is.
Perfect. Good. You come along. Thank you for your questions as well.
Thanks so much, Taya. Thanks so much. And Gary, thank you so much. Really appreciated. Oh, wow. And I've seen several comments while you're talking. Some people said, "Oh, thanks for inviting Gary." Some said, "Oh, you actually know your stuff, so you're saying the right thing." There's several comments which you'll go back to view on Facebook by the time you after this show. I'm sure Instagram comments are going to disappear. But please, if you place any comment on Instagram after the show, it's going to be recorded, so you can actually put your comments there again. So Gary gets to read them and actually and please follow him on Instagram. The Fashion Hub is where we are streaming from on Instagram right now. So please follow Fashion Hub. You can go in at any time, right, Gary?
Can I just say,
yeah,
follow me on Instagram too, as Gary Millar UK or Gary Millar. but I don't post any personal or business things on my Gary Millar account. And the reason being is it's where I'm a kind of amateur, semi-professional photographer. And it's where I only post information about or photographs that I've taken. So I don't engage through the photographs. I do engage on the messages, but I don't engage through the photographs because that's all you will see on there. My Twitter account is my personal account, but you can also follow me on.
Can you turn to your Instagram so they can actually see you well? Yeah.
I'm back again, yes.
Yeah.
It's because we went offline and came back on again. Yes. Sorry about that.
I see your face. Yeah, go on.
So on the Instagram, my Fashion Hub account is about the incubation, about the space there. And you're very happy to follow that. I'm very happy for you to follow that. Don't expect me to put anything about business or about even personal things on Instagram on my own account, because it's actually mainly, I just post photographs, and it's quite fascinating. I set up Instagram many years ago, but never used it until about 2 years ago. And I posted one photograph. And actually somebody said to me, how come you've done no posts apart from one photograph and you've got 1,200 followers on Instagram? And I said, I have no idea. And then it prompted me to start using Instagram. But I only use it, as I say, for my photographs. If you're interested, I'm doing a photography exhibition on at the Fashion Hub on the 28th of November. If coronavirus allows us to do that, come along and see my photographs at the Fashion Hub. And I'm doing it in conjunction with another photographer and actually fashion designer and costumier called June Lorney. She's amazing, absolutely amazing. The two of us are doing a photograph exhibition. You can engage with me on Facebook, and you can engage with me on Twitter. And remember, my name is spelt with an A-R, A for Apple R, Millar, and it's Gary with one R. Whoever messages me, I will always reply, including on Instagram. I may not reply immediately, and I'll tell you why. I get something like 200 messages a day on social media, and I also get about 200 emails a day on top. And I try to reply to every single one. I apologize if I miss any. I don't eventually, I do get to them, but sometimes it's difficult to keep up to date with all of the social media things that are happening. But Instagram, Facebook, I don't use TikTok. I don't use Snapchat because it's just too many. I use LinkedIn as well, so you can also follow me on LinkedIn, and that will give you more information about my expertise, my background. What we haven't discussed today is I came to Liverpool to go to university. I studied computing. I eventually had my own businesses, including a computing business, and we were one of the first businesses to write computer applications that work on the web. And I sold that in 2004. But my passion is photography, is design and technology. And up until about a month ago, I ran a gadget show on local radio with Radio City, with City Talk, until City Talk closed. So gadgets is something where my career was until I sold it. And then it became about business guidance and about business help. And I find business fascinating. I find gadgets and technology fascinating. Although as I get older, technology has changed so much. I could not program anything now, and yet I was a very good programmer when I was younger, but it's moved on in a different way now. So, but I do love that. But I love my photography, and that's why you'll see that on Instagram. Follow me as Gary Millar UK or Gary Millar on various mediums. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So you've heard it from him. We've virtually spent 1 hour and 46 minutes on this interview, Gary. It's been amazing.
Thank you.
If you go to him, several comments here that you've inspired so many Some are challenged by what you've said. Well done, well done, well done, and so many comments. Really, you have a
Thank
lot
you,
to do.
everybody, for being so kind.
Everyone that has joined us today, we've been live with the Deputy Mayor of Liverpool. His name is Gary Millar, and he's
Just call me Gary, please. Just Gary.
Yeah, please call him Gary. He's
Yeah.
Gary. So, and it's been awesome. It's really been awesome today. And thank you, Gary, for really taking the time. I know you're very, very busy. Well, thank you for taking the time to honor our invitation. And please be part of the what is that called? The business clinic. Yeah.
Yes.
So you can actually send an email, message him on Twitter, on Instagram, and he will definitely reply. Just let him know the information, and he will reply. And please, it's a good place for you to learn about you, to get advices on what next to do, because he's not just the only one, but every other person. So don't just sit at home and say, I'm doing my business, I'm a sole trader, I'm doing everything. Nobody's an island. You can still get something from someone. I'm learning. Like he said, he's learning every day too. So Gary, is there an advice? Is there any final word you want to say today before?
Yes, I would like all of our friends to follow the Liverpool Commonwealth Association on Facebook and on Twitter. Keep up to date with what is happening with the trustees of the Commonwealth Association, with Garth Dallas, Vanessa Boton, and others. They are doing a wonderful job. Dr. Sylvia Forchat is doing a wonderful job with what she does, and of course with her daughter, who's I think the youngest published author now on 4 books. It isn't always about business. It is about engaging with our friends from Africa, Australasia, from India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Canada, and so on. So the Liverpool Commonwealth Association, any new people who've joined since I gave it, my email address is gary.millar@liverpool.gov.uk. And I'd love to hear from you. And if it's just to say hi, just send me a message on social media and I will respond to that too. Have a great week. Please be safe, be kind, be patient, be responsible. And if you think somebody needs help, please give them as much help as you possibly can. And as we move forward under this, as Taya says, new normal, as we move forward with that, things are difficult. I get that. They're difficult in business, they're difficult at home, and we are cooped up. And mental health is a major issue, as is domestic violence and so on with this new normal. Please reach out to people for help, whether it's your own counsellor, if you're in Manchester, the Wirral, any part of the Northwest, Liverpool or Old Swan. Thank you to everybody for listening and have a great week.
All right. Thanks, everyone. And Gary, thank you so much. Thank you. We'll see you on Friday.
Thank you again.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye now. Bye-bye.